All right. Watchlist Wednesday. I think this is officially a thing. So we got
Watchlist Wednesday. I love it.
we got the top 3 stocks that you're watching, Brad. I think everybody knows one that's going to be on the list, but last week's was great. We had great traction on it, so we want to keep it going. So let's get right in. For those who are new to this channel, We Trade HQ, Day Trader Education. We got Brad here who comes every Wednesday to give his top 3. So what do you got for us?
Did we crush it last Wednesday?
We crushed it last Wednesday.
Did we really? I mean, there's so much going on. I can't keep track of it all. That's awesome. So yeah, this Wednesday is going to be interesting. I mean, we're seeing a shift in, what of the stocks that have gotten us to this point, right? As far as like a 50% run up from the lows back in March, it's been all the Rona plays, right? So your Cloroxes, all the remote work stuff, and McCormick and Williams-Sonoma, all the stuff that we've talked about. But now there's been a little bit of a shift. And it's gonna be interesting because we're seeing a lot of these hedge funds, major investors starting to pull money from all of those stocks that have gotten them to this point and shifting them into some recovery stocks. And so it's going to be a balance, I think, that you really need to have moving into this next kind of stage or cycle of the market. And so with that being said, we have Tesla obviously went through a 5-to-1 split, or is going through a 5-to-1 split. They announced it this past Tuesday. And basically what that means is that for every one stock you have, or one share you have of Tesla, you will now have 5 of after August 31st. So typically there's going to be usually runs into those stock splits. And the reason is because a lot of people it's optics. It has everything to do with just how the stock looks. A lot of people want to get in before the split because in theory, lots of times after the split, the stock looks much more attractive. So it brings in more buying. So people would want to be in before they have to then chase it after the fact. So that's definitely one to watch. If Apple's any indicator of what is to be expected, then I think Tesla does really well.
Yeah. So you're actually doing a video on the stock split and sort of how to play a stock split and what that means a little bit more in depth. So what I'll do is after today, we'll have a link for the end of the video for you to be able to watch that video to give you more insight on what you want to do leading up to August 31st. So what do you got for number 2?
So number 2 is going to be Goldman Sachs. And so Goldman Sachs is going to be one that is, to my point of, recovery stocks that are going to start seeing a move upwards. And really Goldman Sachs is still undervalued compared to what their earnings kind of showed us. So if we're just looking at fundamentals, Goldman Sachs is trading, I think, about 5 times their earnings, which in the stock market is really low. It might sound like it's high because it's 5 times their earnings, but when you're looking at something like Amazon that's trading 30 to 35 above what their earnings are, it's a pretty big difference. So Goldman Sachs, in my opinion, is undervalued, even though it's a pretty high price stock. I think it does go higher. I think we see maybe about $300 a share on that before long, especially if this starts going in the right direction, or direction we think it's going to be going into.
So talk to me about the banking industry, because it hasn't rebounded like other stocks. And so I'm wondering, is it justified, or is this potentially maybe like fear when, the Great Recession and like banks were just a hot mess? Like, do you think some of that's at play for why people are kind of scared of banks right now?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that Goldman really kind of relies less on mortgage type. I mean, that's not how they make their money. They make their money on trades. And even through the Rona, like they were able to have 97% of their employees work from home, and they still were able to run just as efficiently as before. So it's been pretty incredible to see that. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest fears with like the regional banks, like your Bank of America, your PNCs, Wells Fargo's, because they do rely heavily on mortgages, and we're seeing like a really huge surge in residential rentals not getting paid. Not so much for the commercial income is just fine from that side of things. But yeah, it's a challenge. And so that's why I'm like, make sure that you just have a balance, because I don't think we're quite there yet on the road to recovery, but I think we're starting to work that way. And you want to start to work your way into some of these positions and be there before the real move happens, and rather than trying to chase it.
Yeah. So if you're watching this and you don't know who Brad is, number one, where have you been? Number two, Brad has his own channel, Own the Chaos. And if you like this watch list, Brad, you actually do a watch list every day for your members. So just talk about your watch list and what you offer in that.
Yeah, so we call it the Chaos Crew, and basically what it is, it's just a channel membership. If you just hit join next to subscribe on my channel, you can be a part of that. It's really cheap. It's $4.99 a month, but it gives you an opportunity to just kind of get a snapshot of the market every day and just help support the channel.
Yeah, so if you want to join, link's right up here, and then I'll put it also in the description. So without further ado, what's the last stock we have on the watch list?
It's Barstool, baby. It's Penn National. So Penn National has been, it's been an emotional stock right now. College sports has basically been put on hold for the fall. They just canceled fall, which is unfortunate. It'll be just SEC, I think. And so it's such a bummer. Which, I mean, I wouldn't be so bad if Maryland was like still in the ACC, because ACC is still going to be in there so far. But, you know, it is what it is. I think that it's just, it's a temporary hit, and so we've already started to see Penn National move back up. I think Penn, honestly, with what they have in Barstool could be a billion-dollar company within the next 5 years. I mean, they're already valued at 450. So, I mean, I think as sports start to come back and everything else, Penn National could definitely be among the league, or among the industry elite, like MGM and Wynn and all of them. And I think they've really just kind of become a huge part of online betting. And, you know, DraftKings and FanDuel, they're all going to be playing catch up.
Can Barstool as a company, and I'm not saying it's not big because it's, you know, got some of the best podcasts and the biggest podcasts, but like, can they move the needle that much for a company like Penn when it's going up against the big dogs like MGM and Wynn?
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, Penn National, it's not so, from a fundamental standpoint, from just a gambling side, they were able to keep, they now have, I think, all but 3 locations of their 70 locations open. They're all at 50% capacity or better. So that's just on the, you know, the front facing side. On the digital side, on the online betting side, that's where Barstool really comes into play here. And Barstool is just so big, and they're only just scratching the surface, I think, in that they will start to really kind of rival, you know, your network sportscasters. I mean, ESPN already loves them. And so I think that when people are looking for good, reliable, and entertaining sports talks, that's going to be big. I mean, Barstool is just going to really start to take over that space, but then it funnels everybody into the sports betting and all of that other stuff. Fantasy football, we already know how big that is. So I think when Penn National really starts to like ramp a lot of that up, especially as Barstool is already kind of deep rooted into that, I think it's going to be huge.
Awesome. So guys, come back every Wednesday. We're here giving you the watch list. Like and subscribe. If you want to watch the video from yesterday, it's Tesla stock split. We touched a little bit on it. Don Fron goes over it a little bit, so you can watch that in this card right here. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Brad.
All right, man.